From KAKEland, this is Emmy award-winning KAKE News.
Hello, I'm Chris Frank. Coming up next, I'll have an update on the power outages and the efforts to get the electricity back on.
I'm Chris Stanford in Newton, where the storm caused significant damage to the library. I'll show you just how bad it is and how long it may take to clean up.
Areas of KAKEland left cleaning up after last night's severe storm. Good afternoon. Those strong storms and winds blowing through south central Kansas, leaving us with a huge mess this Easter weekend. Tens of thousands of Kansans without electricity at this hour. Let's head out to Chris Frank, who is live in northwest Wichita, covering the power outages that caused Wichita to actually cancel school.
So, Deb, we're on North Meridian with the 235 bypass to the south of us and the 53rd Street North just about a half a mile behind us. Just take a look at these utility poles, and you can see just what how the wind snapped these poles in two outside the Harbor Isle Addition, just east of the Moorings neighborhood. And taking a look at the latest outage map from Westar Energy, it shows how widespread the damage is and the outages are. At the peak, there were more than 70,000 customers in the region without electricity. The total at last check from Westar shows still over 38,000 without power, and that includes more than 25,500 in Sedgwick County alone. So let's look at some of the video around the area, and you can see what utility crews are having to deal with. There are at least hundreds of poles downed or damaged. Often when enough wind snaps one pole, well, the neighboring poles are stressed by being connected by the wires that you get a succession of poles in a row toppling. There are so many poles down that Westar can't make all the repairs in such an emergency like this by itself.
We've also called in for some mutual aid from KCP&L out of Kansas City. So they're gracious enough to send down 15 crews that'll be here sometime today to help the restoration efforts.
Besides the Kansas City crews, he says Westar has several contract crews working around the city. But the spokesman says realistically it's going to take at least the weekend and perhaps even into Monday to get all the power restored. So the bottom line is they're asking all of us to exercise some patience while those crews are out here repairing all of these utility poles before the electricity comes back on for everyone. Right now we're live in northwest Wichita. Chris Frank, KAKE News.
And currently there are still more than 25,000 outages in Sedgwick County, 3,100 in Reno County, 1,800 in Butler County, 6,700 Harvey County. Now remember, to report any outages, you can call 1-800-544-4857. A 62-year-old Scott City man is killed in last night's storms. Mark Kessler was killed when his trailer home rolled and was torn apart. No one else in Scott City was injured in the weather, but several semis did roll over, power lines were knocked down, and a barn was demolished. Widespread damage all across Wichita from last night's storm. KAKE's Lily Wu has a look at what caused headaches for motorists today.
We're south of 29th and Woodlawn by Galicia Heart Hospital, where they had to use backup generators because of this. Down power poles and power lines blocking major streets in northeast Wichita.
I was thankful it wasn't closer to the house. I was thankful it was just the fence.
Some people in northeast Wichita waking up to no electricity and down branches, even damaged property.
It was a good shade tree, pear tree. Lost about 3 good-sized branches, and looks like I got my work cut out this morning. Gonna have a chainsaw party.
Down power lines and power poles block busy streets like Woodlawn from Mainscape to K96.
I had no idea it was that bad. I thought it was just one until this morning. That's when I saw the rest of it.
And a business near 39th and Webb Road had its roof ripped and then mangled around a flagpole. Insulation covered much of this parking lot, but thankfully no one was hurt. Then back near K96 in Hillside, this EMS station is now without a roof, and it's all blamed on strong winds that caused widespread damage.
I heard a big crash, and then the hail started hitting, and it hit like 3 minutes, and it was over, but the damage was pretty quick and fast.
If you see power lines on the ground, police are advising you not to approach it as it may be live, and if you see traffic lights that are not working, you should treat it as a four-way stop. Reporting in Northeast Wichita, Lily Wu, KAKE News.
And I just spoke to the city of Wichita. A spokesperson tells me the only street still closed due to the storm is Woodlawn north of K96. Everything else is reopened. Now, if you do have tree limbs that you need to pick up, the city is offering you a place to dump them for free. The storm knocked down trees and limbs all over the area. If you want those tree limbs hauled off, you need to work with your trash company. However, if you want to get rid of them yourselves, you can take them to Brooks Landfill without charge through Tuesday. One of the areas hardest hit was north of Wichita. Several buildings with major damage across Newton. KAKE's Chris Stanford is live in Newton with the cleanup effort. Hey, Chris.
And Deb, the cleanup is already underway here at the Newton Library, where water came through the ceiling after part of the roof was ripped off last night when those strong storms rolled through. You see the plastic over a lot of the bookcases here. That's because some of the water is still coming through the ceiling every now and then. But to give you a really good idea of what this storm did here to the library, let's take a look at one of these books. This book, you can still feel that it's soaked, and you can see some of the coloring from the binder is dyeing the pages, and that's one of the big things that they'll have to do here is assess how badly and how many of these books have been damaged. One of the things they're doing right now is putting some of the books into a freezer to suck that moisture out. Also, you may notice that there are not a lot of fans going around here like you would normally hear when there's water damage. There's a couple of fans going, but they're not quite sure what these fans would do to the condition of the books, so that's something that they're watching here very closely. I want to bring in the board president of the Newton Library, Mr. Barth Haig. And Mr. Haig, I know a lot of people are wondering out there this evening, how long is it going to be and how long will it take to open this library back up?
Well, we're not entirely sure, Chris. We've never experienced anything quite like this before. We've had water problems in this building, but never like this. We're guessing it may be about a week before we're really able to put everything back together and be up and running.
Do you have any idea how many books have been damaged?
I think we've got about 100 books that are damaged beyond salvage, and it looks like we have about another 100 that we think we can save. When you think about the thousands of books that we have in this library, we really came out of this in a fairly lucky way.
I would agree. Is there anything that the public can do to help you guys out right now?
You know, it's been great. We have a great library staff here. We have board volunteers, other volunteers from town. City crews have been here. The South Central Kansas Library System sent representatives today. Right now, I think we have everything under control. Probably what we need most of all is just patience.
All right. Thank you very much. Best of luck to you in the restoration efforts. We'll have more from Newton and the damage of this storm coming up on KAKE News at 5. Reporting in Newton, Chris Stanford, KAKE News.
All right, Chris, thank you. And today, as you've seen, has been a tough one. As you assess your damage, watch out, though, for those scams that may take advantage of severe weather conditions. KAKE's Gloria Balding has the details in tonight's I-Team Scam Alert.
When you're out in the yard, maybe cleaning up downed trees or debris, be wary of scammers going door to door offering repair or cleanup services. Wichita police want you to be on the lookout for severe weather scammers.
Anybody who's sustained roof damage, be very leery of anybody who just shows up on your doorstep wanting to look at your roof, making offers to do some miraculous repairs at very low discount prices. Especially contractors who are coming up to you and are soliciting your business and asking for money up front. Many times these are scams.
Here are some more tips to help keep you safe from home repair scams. Get multiple written bids on home improvement projects to ensure quotes are reasonable and they're competitive. Ask for local references. It's to your benefit to work with a reputable contractor, and be sure your contractor is insured. The contractor should have personal liability, property damage, and workman's compensation insurance for workers and subcontractors. Also check with your insurance company to find out if you're covered for any injury or damage that might occur. Now, for more tips on home repair scams and to protect yourself, head over to the Attorney General's website. It's inyourcornerkansas.gov. That's the consumer protection website for the state. In Wichita, Gloria Balding, KAKE News.
And remember, you can also call the Kansas Consumer Protection Hotline at 1-800-432-2310 if you have any questions or concerns about who is doing those home repairs. And remember, if you do see a down power line, be careful. Those power lines should always be treated as if they are energized. Don't touch the line. Always assume it is live. And don't try to rescue someone who is touching a down line. It's likely you too could be injured. Call 911. Wait until emergency workers and power crews secure the scene.
As we look at the peak wind gust, last night at midnight, that's when it resets. Look at that, 89 miles per hour at the Kansas Aviation Museum. That was at 12:22. Now, that's the highest wind gust we record on the WeatherBug Network. Remember, it resets at midnight. Andover Middle School, a 73-mile-per-hour gust. Here at the KAKE studio, I was on here live when I showed you that 67-mile-per-hour gust. And Muller Magnet School, 62 miles per hour. Burden, 61. Hayesville, 58 miles per hour. And then the wind gusts got a little weaker over at Augusta at 55 before it surged once again. Look at the string of damage reports. You go all the way to 6 miles southeast of Arapahoe, Colorado. That time was at let's drop that super, at 8:02 Central Time, which was 7:02 Mountain Time, and that was the start of this event. This line of thunderstorms, all these damage reports associated with that, including they just got a sensor near Scott City over there to the lake. 112-mile-per-hour wind gust was measured with this system. But again, everything here started with that line of thunderstorms as it got over towards Hutch, had 70-mile-per-hour winds at the airport. You can just see the string of damage. The good news is we have a good weekend to recover. More on the forecast coming up.
All right, Jay, thank you. And we received several pictures from you, and we want to thank you. Thank our viewers that sent them from the storm. Here's a truck that was damaged when a large tree fell on it during the storm in Wichita. Kinsey Warner then sent us this photo of a damaged barn that collapsed during the storm. Another viewer sent us this picture, a car crushed by a tree. And then John Murphy sent us this photo of a structure collapse south of Hutch. If you have any photos, just go to our website, KAKE.com, and upload those pictures for us, because we definitely like to share them with you. And stay with KAKE News for continuing coverage of the spring storms. Watch for complete coverage and updates on our web channel at KAKE.com.